Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tom Baker Show, powered by TrackTune. You'll be hearing a lot more from TrackTune throughout the show, and in fact, we're going to be sitting once again and for the final time in the TrackTune booth from the 2024 Performance Racing Industry Trade Show that took place in December in Indianapolis, Indiana. I want to tell you, if you have never experienced a PRI show or Performance Racing Industry Trade Show, you have to go see this show. It is just an extraordinary show. If you're involved in motorsports at all, whether you're on the parts side of it or media, or you're a driver, or a team owner, whatever, there is a whole bunch of stuff for you to see and a whole bunch of people for you to meet. It's great for networking. We had a great time with the folks from TrackTune, and we really appreciate the opportunity to join them in their booth for this particular show. We've got a power trio of folks from throughout the racing industry on this show. Jed Emmert from XS Batteries is going to join us. If you've not heard the XS Batteries brand, you're going to hear about it on this program. Pay attention. They've got something for you, whether it's racing or a boat. No matter what it is, there's an XS battery for you, and Jed will talk about that and his racing career as well. We're also going to hear from Adam Stewart. And the Talladega Short Track, obviously, is one of the most revered dirt tracks in the entire country. Talladega Short Track with a lot of history, and Adam is the owner of the short track and the promoter as well. And Adam sat down with us, and he'll tell some great stories. We had a great time with him, excited about what he's got going in 2025. He'll fill us in on all of that. And then we've got the founder of a really cool app called PitPay. And this app, I know, will be expanding even further in the future, but it just saves a bunch of time when you're trying to stand in line, fill out forms, and all of that. PitPay takes care of a lot of that digitally and saves time, whether you are the attendee, the fan coming in, or whether you're the track itself. So the PitPay app founder, Frank Bolter, going to join us and tell us all about what he's got going on as well. Again, a race fan first, seeing a need, and inventing a way to fill it. We love that on this show, and you'll enjoy this interview. So let's get everything started. Welcome back to coverage from the 2024 PRI show in Indianapolis, Indiana. This show has been incredible for us as the Tom Baker Show and Steering Wheel Nation, and being a part of TrackTune's booth. We'll tell you more about TrackTune and our other sponsor, Radical Race Gear, in a moment. But first, I want to introduce you to Jed Emmert. Jed and I have been friends a while. Jed has been a longtime racer. He's been a track promoter, and he's been a podcast host, which we hope he will be again. We've talked about that. But he is currently involved with a company called XS Power Batteries. So talk about XS Power Batteries, Jed.
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
It's always a privilege to talk to you, and, I know we've talked a lot over the years, whether it be in racing or again about the podcast stuff or whatever we've done. So thank you again for having me on.
Sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so XS Power Batteries, we're based out of Knoxville, Tennessee. We have our claim to the fame, I guess, so to speak, is we are performance batteries. So, everything that you drive pretty much has a battery in it, whether it's a race car, an RV, or street car, whatever it may be. And we are the performance side of that. So we are across the board. Typically, we're about 5 to 15% more powerful than other lines across the market. And again, there's obviously some competitors that are close to us, but typically, pound for pound, we're going to be 5 to 15% more powerful in most cases. So we have a wide variety of options: 12 volt, 14 volt, and 16 volt options. 14 and 16 volt typically driven toward the racing community. We have 12 volt racers as well, obviously, but the 12 volt is going to be directed toward like OE applications, direct replacement stuff for your car, your truck, whatever it may be. We've got AGM batteries, lithium batteries, supercapacitors. We've got pretty much everything that you could think of. Like I said, if it's got a battery, if it needs a battery, we've probably got a battery for it.
Okay, so you've been doing this, working with XS for how long now?
Yeah, so some days it feels like I started yesterday, and then some days it feels like I've been there for 20 years. But
Yeah.
I've been there since 2018, January 2008.
Okay.
So I'm coming up on 7 years. That's our sixth. Let's see, is that bad math? That's good math. 7 years. That's how long I've been
Okay.
doing it.
And how did you get started with that?
You know, obviously, I love the racing industry, and again, Excess Power had at that point, I had known them from running their 16-volt products, and honestly, it's a whole lot easier to sell something you believe in and you've already been running, right?
For sure.
So, I've been running Excess Power batteries for years in my race cars, and the opportunity came where I was talking to them about some sponsorship stuff, and it turned out to where it turned into a job for me. So it was a little bit of a process, but man, it's one of those things. It's been a journey, and I'm so glad to be proud to be a part of it, and proud to be a part of the industry. And it's one of those things. I never intended to start working there, but it blossomed into that.
Well, a job is a very kind of different form of sponsorship in a way.
It is.
So, and you just never know how those things are going to go. It just goes to show that the worst thing you can do is not ask for the sponsorship because you never know where it leads.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's a situation where the sales manager at the time, Brady Basner, who is like a mentor to me. I mean, he's a great person, and he was the marketing guy and the sales manager for many years. And at the time, I was, he had sponsored us and worked with our racing programs, and it helped us out in years past. And again, prior to me working there, and the opportunity came again he's like, hey, I've got a sales position open, and would you be interested in it? And I had, I was like, well, you don't even know really anything about me. Are you sure? He's like, no, I've talked to you enough and known you over the years, so I think it'd be a good fit. And again, here I am. And actually, Brady left to start his own company last year, to start his own hot rod shop, and then that allowed me the opportunity to fill his place. So I'm the sales manager, general manager now at Excess Power. So it's kind of come full circle for me in a lot of ways. So it's definitely a handful for sure, though.
And, I imagine it is, and especially doing, these types of shows, too, because so much pre-show work goes into this.
Absolutely.
Then you show up for 3 or 4 days, and then you got a whole lot of post-show homework as well. So
yeah.
It's all year round for you. Now, you're still racing.
Yes. Yep.
And talk a little bit about what you're doing on the track.
Yeah, so I'm very thankful to drive a dirt late model, 2 dirt late models. I drive for 2 different gentlemen, or families, I should say. The Steve Ritchie called me back in, I think, 2013, 2014. The number 98 car. Him and his wife, Libby Ritchie, allowed me to drive their crate car for the last 10 years, and it's been an awesome experience. They... when I met Steve, I had known Steve. Steve was one of those racers that he's, a stalwart at the racetrack. Everybody knows who he is, and a wonderful person, wonderful family. And I had actually just lost my go-kart ride, so I was kind of looking for things to do. And it's one of those things when I'm a firm believer when God closes one door, another door opens. So Steve called me. I'll never forget it. I called him. He called me, and I didn't have his number, but I answered the phone. I was at a practice session at Smoky Mountain Speedway, and he said, "Hey, Jed, this is Steve Ritchie, and would you be interested in driving my late model next year?" And I asked him, I said, "Are you sure you have the right number?" Because but it's been a great relationship. And then one of my longtime sponsors, Alan and Samantha Van Wy, Noble Knights Construction. They started a race team a few years after that, and thankfully that we all get along really well. And typically I'm doing double duty. So one night I'll be running one late model, and I'll also be running the crate late model, different divisions. So I'm usually doing double duty when I'm racing, but I'm very thankful for both those families. Without them, I'd be sitting at home watching TV.
Is it tough doing double duty? I mean, I know both are late models, but they're also not the same. You can't run a crate the same way. The driving style's different.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, it's definitely hard. In a lot of ways, I think it's made me better.
Sure.
But it is a challenge, right? Especially a lot of the racing we do, they do hot lap qualifying, so it's not like I get to go out and hot lap one car, then get comfortable, then go qualify it, right? So it's a quick turnaround, and so you got to adapt very quickly. So I do think it's good. It would be ideal if the cars were the same chassis and set up the exact same, but they're totally different chassis. Yeah. Again, totally different motor packages, which makes it's tough. But again, I think it's really made me better.
Sure.
And then the nights where I can just go drive one of them, I'm super. In my opinion, I think I'm way better that way because I bounce it back and forth. It's made me better.
Now, I have to ask this because you have a unique perspective. You're a driver,
Yep.
and we all know that race car drivers, no matter what it is, where it is, what they're driving, they all tend to believe that promoters are bad, or they know more than
Sure.
the promoter. Why are you doing this? It's and they always think the grass is greener. If only I could be a promoter.
Yeah.
Well, you got to be a promoter.
Yeah.
And you had a chance to have a turn at that. So I'm curious to hear your point of view, or hear how your point of view has changed about the promotional aspect from where maybe it was before you had the chance to do that at Smoky Mountain and you were just a driver.
Sure, yeah. So as you mentioned, I had the opportunity to promote and race direct at Smoky Mountain Speedway earlier this year, and unfortunately I had to step away from that just because, again, I got the promotion at XS Power, so it's just, that is so much work, and it's so much a labor of love. And unfortunately, you need to dedicate completely to that if you're going to do it. So one thing I say to racers all the time, and I've said it on my podcast, I've said it time and time again, I think every racer in America, and fan really, should have to work on the racetrack side, whether it be a track crew, promote, and everybody's perspective would change a little bit.
For sure.
At the end of the day, that is a really hard job. As I said, it's a labor of love. The fact of the matter is, it's most of the time, everybody in the stands or the racers, all these racetracks are making a killing, and that's really not the case. You do have good nights certainly, but most of the time you need those good nights to get you through the tough nights.
That's for sure.
And there's so much that goes into it. That I wish. That doesn't mean that racetracks are excused from things that we mess up on, but my patience is certainly greater. Again, now with that being said, because I've been on both sides of it, when I see things, whether it be on social media or at the racetrack, there's certain moments where I'm way more patient than I would have been had I not participated in that. Right. But there's also instances where, because I've been on both sides, I know when it's inexcusable, or when I think it's inexcusable. So usually when I start speaking up, it's probably pretty bad if I'm speaking up, because it's got to be that way. So, but again, it's such a labor of love, and honestly, we need people, younger people. I'm certainly not super young by any means, but we need younger people to step up, because at the end of the day, we've got racetracks that are passed down in a family line, and so we need to keep it going the best we can, and we need racers, young racers and fans to step up when the opportunity arises to keep this deal going.
For sure. So that brings me to the next question. Where do you see it going? Especially, you've been in Tennessee and around that type of racing or area of racing, obviously, for a long time. So where do you feel like racing in the volunteer state, especially the eastern side, which I love, some of the coolest tracks in America are in eastern Tennessee. Talk about where you see that going in 25, and then tell us where you're going in 25.
Sure, yeah. So the racing scene, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but I don't want to be rainbows and sunshine either, right? There's a lot of things that are happening in our area and across the country and really the world that affect the local racing community.
Sure.
We've got some amazing racetracks in East Tennessee. We've had some amazing racetracks, disappear over the years. Atomic Speedway closed in 2005, 2006. That was a big staple of our area. We just lost 411 Motor Speedway. And we've had racetracks, disappear and then come back. Golden Mountain Speedway in Tennessee's coming back. Big South Fork's coming back.
Oh, good.
So all racetracks that have been closed for years, and then somebody said, it's time for me to step up. There's a lot of really great families and promoters in the East Tennessee region. My hope is that, racers and fans will appreciate it. Again, that's not to say they're never going to be perfect, right? They're going to make mistakes, but I hope that the racing community and the fans, we give grace. You know what I mean? I think that's very important to give to the racetracks, because at the end of the day, it's really easy. It would be a whole lot easier, I promise you, for them to say, I'm going to go on the boat on a Saturday night, and I'm not going to open this racetrack. And because I've been on both sides, I understand. It's there's certain days where you leave the racetrack as a promoter, race director, whatever it may be, and think, what am I doing? I don't have to be doing this. So I say all that to say, I have hope that everything's going to continue to trend in the right direction for East Tennessee racing. We've got some new series, and I'm not saying series are the answer necessarily for weekly racing, but I think there's some stability with series rules and stuff like that, getting everybody on the same page. But man, we have some incredible racetracks and some incredible families that they love it, and thankfully they love it. Whether it be the Sellers and Moses family at Smoky Mountain, whether it be the Shepherds at Wartburg, the Halls at Tazewell. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of people, and again, I know I'm leaving a bunch out, obviously, but those people are what if they didn't love it, we'd all be in trouble. And I'm thankful that it from what I see, that they love it, their kids love it, and in many cases their grandkids love it. So that's what it's going to take to keep this deal going. As far as my racing, but right now with me being the general manager and everything at XS Power, my time is pretty limited. But we're going to try to race a little bit more next year. And again, we do double duty, like I said. So it's a situation where this year we raced about 8 times. As far as went to 8 events, but we raced 16 times. So next year we're going to try to double that up and do plan to be at about 15 to 20 events, I should say, and then we'll run probably 30 to 40 races next year is the current plan.
Okay, so you're going to be busy.
Absolutely.
I love, you mentioned Tazewell, one of my favorite tracks in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, that for those who don't know Tazewell, look it up. Tazewell Speedway, look it up on the internet. That track is basically built into the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
And the speeds that the cars achieve there, it's banked higher than Bristol.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is incredible, and it's a lot of fun to drive around, and unfortunately, unless you've been there, Tazewell, Bulls Gap specifically, those places are so incredibly banked.
Yep.
Until you're there and you see it in person, it's hard to, you can see it in the video, but it's hard to put it in perspective, right?
Yeah.
As a race car driver, the banking's so steep. If you're below a guy, you usually can't look up and see him.
That's
and
incredible.
if you're above them, you don't know they're down there. I mean, it's breathtaking if you've never been there. So I recommend if everybody, hasn't been to either one of them, certainly if they get an opportunity to go, and again, there's lots of other great racetracks in East Tennessee, but those two are the ones that when you walk in, you're like, how do they race on this? I mean, it's unreal.
Yeah. Good to see Newport coming back too for the asphalt.
Yeah,
set,
absolutely.
Because they've done a beautiful job bringing that track back.
Chuck Ward, who owns the Cotton Eye Joe in Knoxville, and he's a property and realty investor, my understanding, but man, he has done an incredible job. That's one of those instances where you look at a racetrack and you think this place will never open back up. There's no way, that place had essentially become a junkyard, and so there's cars and stuff and equipment everywhere, and you just think this is sad, this racetrack will never be a racetrack again. It's sort of like North Wilkesboro, right? You look at it and think there's no way that anybody could get this place raceable. And what Chuck has done at Newport and his crew, and again, even the NASCAR folks at North Wilkesboro, but what he's done, and especially in such a short time, is incredible. And that place is beautiful for sure.
It really looks it. I can't wait to get over there in 25 and actually attend a race in person, because just the video I've seen in the photos, it's always amazing to see someone bring a track back from the ashes.
Yes.
And that's a track, like you said, we would have thought there's no way we'll ever see motorsports there again. And we hear so many stories about tracks going away that it's great to hear a story about one coming back.
Absolutely.
So, East Tennessee is just a great place to watch racing and be a part of racing. A lot of tracks, as you said, been around for years and years, and they're generational, and so that is definitely fun. Now, I know you can't go racing without help, so I want to give you a chance to tell us who helps you make your racing happen.
Yeah, again, it takes a village, right? So first and foremost, my wife, my wife puts up with a lot. As we've discussed here, I've had a lot on my plate this year, doing a lot of things, and my wife is my right hand. I'll try to get emotional on you here, but without her, I couldn't do it, and I genuinely mean that, because she, I come up with dumb ideas like trying to be a promoter. And she's right there with me. Let's do it. And she whatever.
I've done that job. I resemble that remark.
Yes. She's right there with me, and whether I used a racetrack as an example, whether it's cleaning toilets, taking tickets, she's been right there in the battlegrounds with me. So first and foremost for her, she's put up with a lot, and my family does it. My mom, I told somebody the other day, my mom, I can honestly tell you, in all my years of racing, I don't know that my mom's missed more than 5 races ever. She's just that mom that she's going to be there hell or high water, she's going to be there support. So my family, I've got some great friends. Again, my car owners, the Richies with the 98 car and the crate car, Stephen Libby, and then Alan and Samantha Van Wy with the 51 car and the steel blocks, the Noble Knights construction car. I mean, I couldn't do it without them, and again, we've got so many crew members that are just, again, they're not getting paid. They're just coming because they love it and they want to support us. And honestly, I would love to name them all, but it's one of those things, Jim, my car owner Alan on the 51 car, his stepfather, he does a tremendous amount of work during the week. Steve Ritchie, and again, these aren't young guys, right? So Steve's 70 years old, and he'll work circles around me, different generation for sure as far as, and I'll be sweating over there, and he'll just keep on digging, So, but there's so many people, I don't want to leave anybody out, but it's an incredible group, and again, it takes a village, and Tom, I've been very blessed with an awesome village.
Okay, so how does our audience follow you?
So we've got a couple different pages on Facebook, and we're working hopefully on a website here for the near future. But obviously, you're welcome to add me on Facebook as Jed Emmert. I'm about to that limit, so I'm fixing to have to make an actual fan page. But we have Steve Ritchie Racing. You can follow that on Facebook, as well as S&M Racing, which is the S&M Racing is the Alan and Samantha Van Wy team. It's actually named after our wives. So that team, the S&M Racing, comes from Samantha, which is his wife, and Miranda, which is my wife.
Okay.
So the deal was, all right, if we're going to start this race team together, the girls have to have some say in it. So they get to decide the name of the race team. So it's S&M Racing. So again, but yeah, check both of them out on Facebook, and that we try to do our best to keep that up to date. That way, people know what we're doing, what we got going on.
That's awesome. Well, it's great to talk with you. It's great to see you again. We've known each other a while since you were in go-karts, actually.
Yes,
so great to see the success that you've had. And again, XSPowerBatteries.com?
Yep, yeah, you can look it up, XSPowerBatteries.com, or 4, XSPower.com. Obviously, check out our social medias as well. So we're happy to help anybody we can. And again, whether it's a racing application, a boat, RV, power sports, whatever it is, we're happy to help you and answer questions and hopefully get you pointed in the right direction.
Jed Emmert joining us from the Track Tune booth. If you are a track or a series, you need to elevate your communication with the fans and the teams at your track, because once the cars come out on the track and start running, nobody can hear the announcer. You want the PA system to be heard. You want that announcer's messages to be heard, the race calls. Track Tune makes that possible. TrackTune.live is the place to go for all the information on how to become a Track Tune track and bring that capability so that your fans and your teams can actually hear everything that's been said over the PA system right through their internet-connected device, their phone, whatever. And, of course, thanks also to Butch Lamb, Radical Race Gear. If you need sublimated race wear, or if you need a new driver's suit, Butch Lamb will hook you up. RadicalRaceGear.com. Back with more from the PRI show in just a while.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the Track Tune app. Track Tune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit TrackTune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSOil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSOil.com. Hope you enjoyed that opportunity to meet Jed Emmert. Jed is a young man that I've known for quite a while, since he's been racing go-karts, and it was really fun to hear him talk about his racing career in the big cars, but also his time as a general manager or promoter at Smoky Mountain Speedway there in Tennessee, one of my favorite tracks there. Tennessee has some of the best dirt tracks in the country. They really do. And it was great to be able to talk with Jed about some of that. And we're now going to tune into an interview with the owner of another one of the top dirt tracks in the country, at least the most storied, the Talladega Short Track. The owner of that track is Adam Stewart. And Adam kind of worked his way up to be the owner of the track. And he has got a heck of a story to tell us. And we really enjoyed sitting down to talk with him. Without further ado, let's tune in and hear from Adam Stewart. Welcome back to our coverage of the 2024 PRI show in Indianapolis, Indiana. So much fun being here this weekend, and the fun continues here. I love when I can talk dirt for any length of time, really. But this is a pleasure for me. Adam Stewart is our guest. Adam is the owner, promoter, chief cook, and bottle washer of the Talladega Short Track. And I am curious to learn more about this because I've never had the occasion to be there, and I would really like to come and see a show at your track. But let's start at the beginning. How does one become the owner, chief cook, and bottle washer of the Talladega Short Track?
I have an interesting story because I didn't come from racing. So I was a fan. We bought tickets for many years. We were fans of the racetrack and local racetracks, and my younger brother decided to start racing go-karts at the go-kart track there. And
okay.
I needed to make some gas money to get back and forth to the racetrack, so I took a job in the concession stand, and I guess I worked my way up, as you would say. And here we are 20-plus years later, and I've had an opportunity to be a part of the ownership of the racetrack.
Okay, so how do you go from concession stand to, I think I'll just buy the place?
Yeah, well, it worked out. So I met a lot of good people. We're in a really good spot. We're across the street from the Talladega Super Speedway, so we have a lot of sanctioning bodies come in, and I got to meet a lot of people in the business. Took a full-time position in the racing world with the Crate Racing USA. We sanctioned crate engine cars, so I took a full-time job there, moved away for a while, kept in contact with the people at the racetrack because I'd worked there for a long time from being a teenager up, and they got ready to sell. They'd owned the racetrack 40-plus years. They got ready to sell and, said, hey, we're looking for somebody who will take this thing and keep it going. We've built something here. So I was one of the guys they reached out to, and I was able to find a business partner and get this thing done. And here we are a couple years later and steady trucking.
What has been the hardest challenge that you've had in your transition to owner? Because it's one thing to be an employee or work in any specific position at a racetrack. It's a whole other level when you're actually the owner and in charge, and it's your money and your decisions being made. What's been the hardest challenge for you?
Well, there's a lot of challenges. We have to be weather people. We have to be yes. HR people.
Yeah.
We have to be neck huggers and there's a lot of things that you don't realize the hats that promoters
That's
and owners
for sure.
wear. So it was different, as an employee. If you get there and it rains, you go home.
Yep.
Now as an owner promoter, you get there, it rains, you stay all night to clean up, make sure everybody gets out. You've taken care of the things that you've got open. You have to close, change money for the gates. There's armbands. Luckily, I have a great staff, but there's at the end of the day, when it all goes downhill, I'm at the bottom with the bucket.
Yeah, and see, that's one thing and I promoted both dirt tracks and pavement.
Yes, sir.
And the rain out thing, the weather person thing is close to my heart because one of the tracks I promoted, the year I promoted it, we lost 11 out of 26 shows to rain. And it's hard to make much money when you're losing almost half your shows. It was just one of those wet summers, but you always get the fans that, well, you shouldn't have rained. You canceled and it never rained or whatever. And it's like, I don't think, talk about from your experience, because it's not as simple as we think it's going to rain or we don't think it's going to rain. there are so many factors: distance drivers travel, timing of not wanting to open the gates, because you're trying to make the best decision for everybody involved. It's not just you in the equation. What's that like for you?
Yeah, you have to. It's a balancing act. You have to, you've got police and fire that have to be there. You've got your employees driving 30, 45 minutes to the racetrack. You've got to watch out for yourself.
Yeah.
If you turn those lights on, you can hear that power meter humming. And if you're bringing nothing in that night,
Exactly.
it definitely hurts the bottom line. But you also have to think about the racers that are coming. And do you try to call early? Do you not call early enough?
Right.
If you have rain out tickets and keeping up with that through the year, there's just so many factors. And anymore, used to we drove to the racetrack in the rain. And now we're all a cell phone meteorologist.
Yeah.
So we all have a cell phone. It says it's going to rain. It might not rain a drop. We're rained out on Thursday.
Yep.
So there's a whole lot of factors that we didn't deal with 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
That is true, because I remember when I was growing up, we lived a straight 6-block shot from our local track. And I can remember my parents and I multiple times going out, and it's sprinkling, and you're sitting in the parking lot waiting for whatever's going to happen. Right now, nobody shows up till it's it's a different day and age, and it's such a challenge to be a promoter. How many events do you run during the year?
We have a go-kart track. We run on Friday nights typically. Between the go-kart and stock car track, we end up somewhere around 30 events, 30 to 35 events. Depending on weather. We have some of those spells where we get in a wet pattern and it'll rain, or we're either feast or famine. It's either rained for 10 days or hasn't rained for 30 days. But we average about 30 events a year between the two tracks.
Wow, that's a lot of events. And you have multiple big races.
Yep, we're very fortunate there. There again, we're in a great location. We're right off Interstate 20, almost between Birmingham and Atlanta. The Talladega Superspeedway being across the street, we have 2 big weekends a year that we get to draw the people that are in the campgrounds there. So we have the World of Outlaw late models for $50,000 to win. We have World of Outlaw sprint cars in March. We have multiple regional series, Southern Thunder super late models, and that kind of thing. Of course, my affiliation with Crate Racing USA, we do a lot of events with that. So we're in a good spot to be able to host a lot of good events.
So what's a memory? What's a favorite little memory of your short time of owning the track? Do you have something that stands out that just sort of is kind of a seminal moment for you?
I think I consider every race a memory, but I think our first World of Outlaw late model race is NASCAR weekend. And, to pull up on top of the racetrack and see the best racers in the business and the stands full of people. And, that's all the fussings and cussings and late nights and broke down equipment. You're like, man, this is why we do it. This is why we do it. So I think and I get that feeling even for a regular show. If there's 3,000 people or 300 people there, I'm glad to see those people. I want to make sure we've brought quality entertainment and made the show as good as we can for whatever it may be.
Yeah, it's really the tie-in to the NASCAR track for you is so interesting, because when you run a show like that and it's on NASCAR weekend, whether you get a Kyle Larson to show up and drive one of the cars in your race or not, you're getting a lot of that fan base, and you never know who's out. And it's just such I would imagine, a different type of atmosphere on those weekends as opposed to your normal shows.
It is. It's very electric.
Yeah.
We're on the free campground side of the road, so all the people who are camping for free and tent camping and drinking since Wednesday, they hear us making a little noise, and so they want to come see what's going on. And we're very fortunate. We run sprint cars that weekend. Typically, we have a Chase Briscoe and a Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won a couple of races with us, and Larson has been there. You never know who you're going to see creep over from the airport into the pits. So it's definitely an electric atmosphere on those weekends.
Yeah, the NASCAR tie-in just can't be avoided. It can't be understated.
Correct.
Because it's so important, I think, to your track, and even a guy like Red Farmer.
Yeah, Red still races with us every week. He just turned 92.
Okay. He was 92 5 years ago.
Yeah. So it's people want to come and see that. It's amazing the people that call and they're like, "Who's your biggest draw?" I said, "Red Farmer."
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean, Red Farmer? He's still racing? I said, "Heck yeah, he's still competitive. He drives the truck and trailer in." And we're fortunate to have. It's a national treasure. we're fortunate to have somebody like that who is very good to us. He helps promote the racetrack. He promotes racing in general. But it's neat to have that connection. A lot of people think that NASCAR owns us because we basically butt up to their property, but it's not. We're
Entirely
independent,
separate,
but we're very fortunate to have a good relationship with all the people at the Super Speedway. They're very good to us. We actually lease some property for parking on big events, and they're very helpful. So we're fortunate that we have a good working relationship with them.
Yeah, Red has got to be so much fun. I mean, the one of the original Alabama gang, and of course we just lost Bobby Allison not too long ago. So Red is Red. The fact that he's still alive and well, let alone able to still go out and race and be competitive, really is quite an incredible story. And I think it's one that. I know if I were in your position, I think I would just stand there every week and just be amazed at the fact that I get to watch this man keep doing this week after week because he still loves it enough to.
Yes. He is the picture of what we want all of our racers to be.
Absolutely.
He loves it. It's almost surreal. Your phone will ring during the week, and it's Red Farmer on the phone. How's the weather? Make sure you got my parking spot saved. We don't save any parking spots. There's one parking spot at the racetrack that's always available. So, and it will always be available as long as he wants
Seniority.
it. That's correct. So, but we're very fortunate to have him there and to see that. That's for a kid that was a fan. That's a cool deal that you talk to Red Farmer every week.
Yeah, for sure. What's on deck for 2025?
Well, we haven't finished 2024 yet. We race next week. We've added an event to we have our biggest event of the year comes in January.
Yes,
it's called the Ice Bowl.
That's where I was hoping you'd start, but you've still got one to do.
So we've added an event next week that's we call it the Santa Shootout Ice Bowl Tune-Up. So
do you race sleighs?
Well, we may. It depends on what the weather's going to do. But it's basically a regular show. I'm using it as a lot of our local drivers want to practice. Well, for us, it makes more sense. Let's just let them race. They get to come in for $30 pit pass. They get to make laps in daytime condition we'll be racing in, and they get to take some money home. Somebody's going to take some money home.
Nice.
So we added the race there. Then in a couple weeks, then we get into 2025, and the Ice Bowl is our biggest event. We liken it to the Woodstock of racing because we've got every class of car, every class of citizen, every class of camping and sleeping, from tents on the ground to $1 million trucks in the pits. So and everybody has a great time. It's a happening. It's wintertime. We're not supposed to be racing, and we get 400 race cars there to race. So
that's crazy.
The entire property is all pit area. We make all fans and everything park next door, and we've done some work to the racetrack. Typically daytime racing in the South is not on dirt.
Yeah,
is not
action
packed, so to speak. We were very fortunate last year. The racetrack was pretty good, so we take a lot of pride in trying to make sure we give our racers a decent racetrack to save on tire cost. If I've got a chance to pass a guy, I don't have to rough him up and have ruffled feathers in the pits. So, that's our biggest race. And then we take a couple months off. We get started right back World of Outlaw Sprint Cars in March. April is a big month. We've got the Hunt the Front Dirt Series for the Bama Bash. We turn right around a few weeks later and have the 50,000 to win Alabama Gang 100, we call it. So we honor the Alabama Gang with a race there with the World of Outlaw late models, and we run a lot of regional series and a lot of weekly events through the year, through the summer. And then our go-kart track we run on Friday nights. So we stay pretty busy from about the 1st of April to actually they've moved the NASCAR date back, so we're in the end of October now. But then once that's done, we sort of close up shop and get things ready for the next season.
You have a pretty big race about once a month. I mean, you've got a nice, evenly paced schedule, it seems like, of, different types of series, but it seems like you have what I would call a major about once every month there. So there's always something new or different, no matter when you're in town, if you're passing through or whatever, a great opportunity to go see something big.
Yeah, we try to give our fans different options. We have sprint car stuff.
Yep.
That's the South's not typically sprint car country, so we offer a few sprint car shows through the year. We do big crate races. We run a crate, our local divisions. I try to give each of my local divisions one big race a year that support us all year long. Those guys, a lot of times, I feel like they get left out. We have the World of Outlaws, and they got to buy that $45, $50 pit pass to come in. They're still running for $500, so let's pay them $1,500. And at a $30 pit pass, and try to make those shows big for them too, because we're built off of our home racers. Those guys are loyal to us. So, but once a month we bring in a super late model series, a sprint car series, something different, just to give our fans some different things. And so we're looking at doing different events to try to keep engagement and open it up to new fans as well.
That's great. I mean, it sounds like a whole lot of fun to be a part of that all year long. And, again, the association with the NASCAR track is great, but the dirt track stuff to me is just primo. I love short track racing, and I always will. And I'm hoping to be able to get there at some point this year and watch a race, because it's one of those bucket list things. I've never been to the super speedway either. It's just never worked into my schedule. So hoping to make that happen in 2025, and we'll look forward to coming to see you. And certainly appreciate the chance to chat with you a little bit and get to know you. And I wish you all the best for a safe and exciting season of racing next year.
All right. Thank you very much.
That is Adam Stewart, the owner and promoter of Talladega Short Track. We'll be back with more coverage from the PRI show, sponsored by Track Tune and Radical Race Gear, shortly.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the Track Tune app. Track Tune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack directory.
For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com. That was Adam Stewart from the Talladega Short Track. If you're anywhere near the Talladega Short Track, anywhere in the Southeast, I encourage you to go check out a show there. That's on my bucket list for 2025. I want to get there. I've never been to a show there and would love to be able to go there and catch one of their shows. They've got a wide variety of different series and divisions that race there throughout the year, a lot of big races. So if you get a chance, go check out the Talladega Short Track. Our next interview is going to switch to the technical side, if you will, or the digital side of the sport. Frank Bolter, the fan who sort of saw a need and thought, well, what if I could invent something that could save time? You have to fill out all the forms and all of that when you go to get a pit pass. What if I could digitize this in some way and, save some time and make things easier, not only for the racers and fans, but for the tracks or the series or event promoters as well. That's exactly what he's done. The app is called Pit Pay, and he's got a couple of things cooking right now digitally, and he's expanding his offering all the time. Frank Bolter joining us for the first time on the program from the PRI Trade Show in Indianapolis. We are back from the PRI Show 2024 PRI Show in Indianapolis, Indiana. It has been a blast being here inside the Track Tune booth all weekend long at the show. You get to interview so many different people from across the motorsports spectrum. Want to thank the folks from Track Tune for being our main sponsor on the Tom Baker Show, but also, of course, for hosting us here in their booth all weekend at PRI. And we are joined by a gentleman who has a product that I'm really intrigued to learn more about, and it's called Pit Pay, and also kind of within that same architecture is Ticket Hoss. Frank Bolter is the name, I believe. Good. I got it right. Okay, Frank, first of all, welcome to the show. It is great to have you on. Tell us a little bit, first of all, about what Pit Pay is, and then we'll get to Ticket Hoss. I think it's kind of one and the same family, right? But talk a little bit about Pit Pay and how you got started with this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate what
sir.
Track Tune's done to tell a lot of stories this weekend and
For
what
sure.
you've done and unpack a lot of interesting little storylines and why people are here and everyone's here this weekend.
Absolutely.
So we're based in Charlotte. Pit Pay, we've kind of went to solve the problem where you're waiting in line to get in the pits every week, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to sign that waiver and release. You got to pay. Everyone shows at the same time when the pit gates are open. So we work with the leading insurance companies to sort of digitize that process, and it's all in app. Sign up for our mobile app, buy your pit pass, and sign the waiver, and show up with your scannable pit pass. As simple as that, and they just armband you, and you're in. So we're passionate about improving that experience, at-track experience for the participants and the fans. So that's kind of our mission, and take our years of experience of going up and down the roads coast to coast, and help use this technology to leverage all the data and attract younger fan base and that kind of stuff.
What led you to this?
Man, all the years of just watching this process, I'm like, man, there's a better way to do this, right? So I'm one of those guys that's like, look at something like, well, we could do that better, or let's make that better, right? So, and I think there's a lot of people in this room that's why they're here, right?
Exactly.
They come up with a better mousetrap, whatever they're building, right? Yeah. And so, and I think I learned that about myself a little bit into this project. I'm like, man, I'm a builder. I like to build things, and then I'm passionate about this industry, and I don't know, the technology was ripe for taking advantage of, right? I mean, what this mobile phone has done for us, you really kind of take it for granted, right? Everything we do is on that now, and it's not been that long ago since they introduced the iPhone, like 2007.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on now. There's products like Track Tune that you can just listen to right on your phone, right?
Yeah,
So
listen to the announcers.
Yeah, there's 2 million apps in the App Store, so it's a lot of creative stuff out there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So were you in racing before you started this, or were you a fan of racing? What kind of got you into the headspace of wanting to improve the pit process? I know you said it was observing it, but from what point of view did you observe it?
Yeah, I mean, I traveled the roads with kind of a touring late model racer when I was kind of starting at 15.
Gotcha, okay.
I moved to Charlotte in '94 to work in the NASCAR business.
Oh.
And, so I've spotted and done a lot of things on the team side, consulted. I've had other related motorsports businesses, and so I've done things at a high level. I'm still spot for Ryan Hunter-Reay in the IndyCar series.
Oh, wow.
So I've done that for a lot of years, a lot of NASCAR races, and so I've seen how the smallest of dirt tracks operate to the Indianapolis 500 operates, right? So like, all right, I'm passionate about improving this experience where it's on par with a minor league baseball game or anything else anyone does with their entertainment dollar, right? And like I said, Track Tune's one of the things that I love, that's doing that, right? You're taking that experience to the next level.
For sure, yeah. So, spotter for Ryan Hunter-Reay in IndyCar. What's the experience like spotting? I assume you spotted the Indy 500 then.
Yeah, I've spotted about 20-something of those.
Wow.
Fortunate enough to win it in 2014 as a spotter. Done a lot with Kyle Busch over the years spotting.
Okay.
Won the Brickyard 400 spotting for Kyle. So.
You won the double.
Yeah, and we won the Xfinity race one year. So I won
triple.
kind of almost everything out
you got
there.
The hat trick.
They brought a lot of the drivers up. Driver development stuff with like Eric Jones was a guy I worked with early on, or Christopher Bell, and a lot of these guys over the years that have just, even Kyle, I met Kyle when he was 16. He was just a late model kind of kid, and he was breaking in, and started working with him. And but yeah, that's kind of, I've mentored a lot of guys along the way, and so I've always kind of kept my toe in the short track world, even though I was doing IndyCar and NASCAR stuff. So and to me, I look at it as like, I've been running these roads for 35, 40 years almost, and it's if I don't take that knowledge and my experience and give back to this industry, you know what I mean? It's like, what did I do the last 30 years for, right? So, and that's what we get up every day to do.
Okay, so
Yeah.
back to Pit Pay again. So when you and I spoke yesterday, there's more to what you've got in the soup, so to speak, than just the Pit Pay. You've got Ticket Hoss. Talk a little bit about kind of how your entire package works.
Yeah, on the Pit Pay side, we start with that one first.
Yeah.
But we're able to do memberships for tracks or series that sell memberships, event registration, so they have to fill out their full registration form to compete in the event, or even pit passes. We've got some tracks that'll sell transponder rentals or anything they really want to sell. So we've got this point of sale system that kind of allows them to kind of combine all their touch points and accept credit cards at all their terminals and that kind of thing. So, but we launched the Ticket Hoss is our fan ticketing platform for the grandstand, fans, and I've always just thought there was a lot missing with that experience. So our system's mobile only, very easy to use, quick to sign up. So if you're lined up in the line at the track trying to get in, and the 20-minute long wait, in 2 minutes you can have a ticket and walk right to the gate and get scanned in. So, that's got a lot of cool features coming in that, with working on some food and beverage ordering. So a race fan will be able to order their hamburger and Pepsi right in the app after they've gotten their ticket. And
Wow.
so we're passionate about modernizing this experience, and help try to make the short track world more sustainable, right? That's what it's all about.
That's a little thing that, as a race fan, I don't know that I would have necessarily thought about at a racetrack, but if I could take my phone and I could actually order my food, that saves a long time waiting in line, and then the tracks can kind of have the part of the concession where you go and pick up the order if you've already paid for it. Or, I mean, that's a little thing, but that would really improve the fan experience.
Right, and I think it'll add to their bottom line. So Major League Baseball's done it really well. They've seen a 60% increase in sales in some of their parks, and that's bottom line, right? It's so if a short track, if they have a busy night, big show, their concessions are overwhelmed, they're not going to ever be run like a Chick-fil-A, right? They're not open 7 days a week, and so like they're open one day a week, and with a lot of times volunteer help or just whoever you can help staff that concession stand. So I feel like I'll buy a burger. I don't mind waiting 20 minutes if I can wait and stay watching the races, sit in my seat. Then I get a text message and your food's ready. You walk right up and get your food, right? So, but I'm not going to stand in line 20 minutes where I can't see the race, right? So
that's really interesting. I like that idea. So, how many tracks do you have currently in your system?
We're probably touching 70, 80 tracks right now between both platforms, and I don't know. We're growing. We're new. We really focused on the product and making the product good, right? And we're just at the point now we're ready to kind of start the marketing side, and word of mouth's your best marketing, right? So if it works,
Sure.
These guys talk, the fans talk, the racers talk, and if the track uses our technology properly, then they can deliver that experience. That we want the fan to have, right? We don't want them to wait in line. No one wants
Sure.
to wait in line. They want to pay how they want to pay. And that's they want a kind of a fun interaction with the technology as well, right? Like they want an easy to use experience.
Who was the first track that jumped on board with you?
Maybe Five Flags Speedway is one of the first.
Okay.
The Cars Tour was an early adopter. And I think a lot of the other track operators are, they're not tech savvy in general. So a lot of these guys are just taking a wait and see approach, which is good. It's allowed us to improve the product and work on things. And we got a few guinea pigs that'll say, hey, look, we'll try anything you want to. Any of your ideas, we're ready to try it. So that's kind of fun. But
forward-thinking promoters.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got people begging for the concession stuff already. So
that would be so cool.
Yeah, and I know it'll work, right? Our technology does not know whether I'm selling a ticket or a cheeseburger, right? It's just a ticket. So we just got to finish the interface and some things. So we've had some other things in front of that in line in our development pipeline. But
that's awesome.
Other than that, it's been rewarding to see how we can help these venues, right? Like, and just deliver that experience that you may can get at a high school football game now.
Yeah, that's really something. Where can fans find Pit Pay and Ticket Hoss? Tell us about your website, social media, whatever you got, where tracks and fans can talk to you.
Yeah, you can find us at Pit Pay app, we're in both Google Play Store and Apple App Store. So anywhere you can find your apps, and easy to find, and easy to get set up.
Social media, website, anything like
that?
Yeah,
tickethoss.com or pitpay.com.
Okay.
You can see all of our events there as they get built out for next season.
Well, we are excited to see more technology, and boy, it would be cool to be able to be in your seat and order food. Again, something we hadn't thought about. It's kind of like track tune. We all grew up going to the races. You sit in the grandstand as soon as the announcers, or as soon as the cars would come out, you wouldn't hear the announcer, but we just never really thought about that until this track tune, and then now that solves the problem that we really didn't realize we've had. And once you hear it, and once you're able to use it, and you go to a track that doesn't have it, it's like, bummer, we can't hear, So I feel like you're doing that sort of thing becomes the same type of thing. We never thought about ordering food from our seats, but how convenient would that be? So like you said, we miss less racing waiting in line to get food.
Yeah, I think every bit of these technology is just another touch point to get people more engaged, keep them more informed, give them a better experience. And if I can hear the announcer, that's better, right? If I can watch timing and scoring and really learn the drivers' names and really know what's going on with the timing and scoring, right? That's awesome. So same thing from your event experience starts with buying a ticket. So whether you're waiting in line or buying it online, or so we want to nail that part of it, right? So there's other companies that are doing cool stuff in the space to kind of tie the rest of the experience together, and that's what we're passionate about, and I know we're gonna help make these tracks more sustainable.
Thank you very much, Frank, for taking some
thanks,
time
Tom.
to be on with us, and hope the rest of your day goes great here at the show.
Thanks.
Pitpay.com, tickethoss.com. We will be back with more from PRI, sponsored by TrackTune and Radical Race Gear, in a while.
Attention track and series owners, elevate your fan experience with the TrackTune app. TrackTune works with your PA system. Fans and teams at the track can hear the announcers through their phones, ensuring everyone hears race calls, sponsor plugs, and more during race nights. It's simple to set up, affordable, and free for fans to download and enjoy. Visit tracktune.live for all the details and join tracks nationwide on the app today.
For race fans across the United States, GetInTheStands.com is the place to find racetracks where you live and where you're traveling. Just go to GetInTheStands.com and enter your location. You'll see the tracks within 100 miles of that point, either as a list or on a map. GetInTheStands.com is 100% free to use and mobile friendly. So whether you're on a computer, a tablet, or on your phone, there's no need to download an app. To find racetracks across the United States, open your web browser and head to GetInTheStands.com. GetInTheStands.com, your racetrack.
For over 50 years, FHS Superior Synthetic Oil has powered high-performance engines with unbeatable protection and speed. Whether it's drag racing, go-karts, sprint cars, stock cars, or your daily driver, FHS stands for high speed and delivers every time. Their advanced synthetic oils boost your engine's responsiveness, acceleration, and efficiency, giving you the winning edge on every lap. Visit FHSoil.com today to find the right products for your engine. FHSoil.com. And that will wrap things up for this edition of the Tom Baker Show. We hope that you've enjoyed our 4-part mini-series from the Performance Racing Industry Trade Show. We were inside the TrackTune booth, had a great time. And again, thanks to Jim and Anissa and Jacob and the entire staff of TrackTune for having us at PRI and for being such great supporters of ours and for all that they do for us. Again, tracktune.com. Go there, check it out. If you are a track or series, you need this app. It allows your fans to hear the announcers even when the cars are going around the track, and it's a great way to keep your teams informed in the pits as well, because they have trouble hearing too. Keep them informed of what's going on, tracktune.com. For more great content, join us on our particular community hub at steeringwheelnation.com. Make sure you click join when you get there and pick some communities to join and talk and post, and just like Facebook groups. And so we have a blast there. So join us, steeringwheelnation.com. Also, our streaming page right here on the PowerTube TV platform. And if you have Facebook and Instagram, you can find us there as well at The Wheel Nation. Until next time, I'm Tom Baker. Thanks for watching.